like Red Bull, which is disgusting.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is
Morning somewhere!
for April 23rd, 2025. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. She's indulging in her own personal oblivion. It's Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
Sounds like drugs. Feels like drugs. So the Oblivion remastered is real. We knew it was real, but it's really, really real, Bernie.
Elder Scrolls
It's a real boy.
4?
Yes,
Oblivion?
this is Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Originally came out in, 2005? I should look that up.
2005, the remaster that nobody was asking for, but everyone is playing for some reason.
Well, here's the thing, right? I was thinking about this, and we don't have another Elder Scrolls on the horizon. I know technically...
What do you mean? Don't we have one literally like that's been announced and is coming at some point?
Oh, you sweet summer child. Yes, they did announce it. But what that really meant was we'll make it someday. I don't even know. That's got pre-production maybe.
I saw a picture of a city and I was sold.
Look, that was like they had to get Space Game out. And then at some point, maybe they're working on this. Maybe they're working on Fallout first. But the idea being it's going to be a healthy wait before we have another Elder Scrolls, which it's already been a healthy wait, but it's going to continue to be a big wait. So with no other Elder Scrolls on the horizon, I can see why I'm not the only one who, when Bethesda announced today, yes, the game you knew is real, and as predicted, it's available now. Do you think that I feel bad for them in some degree because we're like, yay, finally, instead of like, wow, what an amazing surprise, but
I was watching you in the character generation thing.
Yeah.
And my reaction was, oh, this looks better. And now it's gone. Like it was instantly within 3 seconds. Graphics mean the least to me out of everything in a video game.
You say that, but I feel like it's one of those sort of background things, right? You can accept that an older game doesn't look as great, but if you were to load up original Oblivion right now, you'd probably go, ugh.
Here's the thing, I'm not going to do that, right? It is just living in my memory.
So what this does is this allows you to play the game as you remember it.
Yeah, right, exactly. but also, if I went back and played the old game, if I did do that, right?
Yes.
It would also be within the first 5 minutes to be like, this is fine.
You would just adjust to the graphics.
I just adjust to whatever the graphic level is. I'm totally fine with it.
This one does look amazing so far. Keeping in mind, I've had the game for roughly an hour. It took a really long time to download. I wasn't sure if it was because there was a hell of a rainstorm here. And sometimes, weirdly, that can slow down the internet. Or if it was just the fact that, like me, everyone is downloading this game right now. And so, the pipes are a little bit clogged. But I've had it for roughly an hour, and I'm very nearly halfway through making my character. So far, I would say it's a huge improvement over the original.
The rainstorm that you were just talking about, Finn and I got rained out of. We went to another baseball game. He had probably the most kid day a kid could possibly have, like best kid day ever. It hailed. It could have rained Legos. That would have made it more perfect for a kid. We went to the ballpark. We went to go buy a hot dog. And then I noticed.
Did you get a hot dog?
We got hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
we went to go get a hot dog and noticed at the bottom of the menu that they've got a foot-long hot dog. So I was like, I ordered it on the sly. I ordered myself a regular hot dog, and Finn got a foot-long hot dog.
Yes, I'm a hot dog.
Hot dog. So he had a foot-long hot dog.
Check. Okay.
He had his first rain out with hail. He got hit by hail.
I feel like that's a rain out is an important milestone for any baseball fan.
He got on the Jumbotron again. Second time he's been on the Jumbotron. I've been to games my whole life. I've never been on the Jumbotron. This time
let's face it, he's a cute kid.
This time was for the dance camp, and he got a ball.
What?
Third baseball game. He got a ball. Like I said, not a very crowded stadium, but he got a ball. He came home with a ball.
That sounds like a home run experience to me.
Yeah. Hey, you over there with the puns. Well, while we're talking about that too, I'm not going to talk about Blueprints, but while we're talking about video games and graphics, I did finish Blueprints, which is, if you've played the game, finishing it isn't really finishing it. You know, you still have stuff to figure out in the post game or end game.
You earned your inheritance?
I got basically when you finish the game blueprints, you get your first achievement. It's like, oh man.
Oh, that's where it starts.
Yeah,
Good to know.
Basically, it's the start of the game, I guess. I don't know. I'm probably not going to go any further in it. I'll wait till we get back to Scotland.
You know, you said that, but I've seen you going further in it today.
Finn is super into it. He wants to unlock. I don't want to ruin it for everybody else. We got like 3 of a set of 4 things, and we want to get the 4th thing. But it turns out the 4th thing I think might be bigger than what we think it is.
Okay.
But I would recommend if you're like me and you don't really care that much about graphics. I was thinking about other games I've liked. We've talked about Tunic, which is another version of like a blueprint style game. But honestly, the best version of this kind of game is a game called Outer Wilds, which came out like 2017 or something like that. And the graphics are kind of odd. The art direction also kind of like very specific. It feels very independent, even for a console game. I played it on the Xbox. But man, if you can stick with it, it is a tremendous game. And if you like
May 2019,
and if you like flying around like little lunar landers and stuff like that.
Well, that's got a really stylized art style, which I feel like helps aging. Tunic, also a very stylized art style, helps with the aging. So there's a lot of those games that I feel like they're older. They don't look like they're not going to test the limits of your new GPU or anything, but they're going to look nice longer than games that do their best to be realistic. We
just talked about Outer Wilds being from June of 2019. When do you think is the earliest announcement of Elder Scrolls 6?
Oh my God. Let's see. That came around the same time they really started talking about Starfield, I think. So I'm going to say they announced Elder Scrolls 6 2021. No,
Todd
earlier.
Howard.
That was E3. So they did it. I'm pretty sure it was at an E3. So I'm going to say 2018.
Todd Howard, director and executive producer at Bethesda Game Studios, confirmed the developers' intent to make a new entry in the Elder Scrolls series in June of 2016.
Oh my God.
That's the earliest mention of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we know that they will make one at some point, but there is a downside when you have this studio that works on Elder Scrolls, that's working on Fallout, that's working on, now they've got their space version with Starfield. So, and those games, they take a while to make. So even if you're just working on these 3, rotating through them, it takes a really, really long time. I mean, Skyrim was 2012, 2011.
Don't know. Sounds right. Sounds about right. Crazy thing that happened too when I was watching the baseball
2011. Game. Jesus Christ.
Crazy thing that happened that I hadn't seen. Like sometimes you don't pay attention and something moves on. These are minor league games, so rules could be different. I haven't seen this in baseball. They can challenge pitches now. Like the batter can just go, I don't think that was a strike, and then they do an instant replay.
Yeah. When we went to a game the other day, they were doing that. Like they can do a replay, and it touches the box, and therefore is a good pitch, or doesn't touch the box, and so now it's not.
I always love when they present it in a very highly precise fashion, but it's still incredibly subjective. Like who makes the box?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The box?
Who makes the strike zone?
I assume the sport made the box.
It's always like that was like in American football when they would they would tackle the guy, he would just put the ball down wherever. Then the ref would run in from the sideline. He sees where the guy actually had the ball. He then takes the ball himself, goes, yeah, about there. That's it. It's like, is that a first down? Let's get out the chains. And then they measure with these really precise chains. It's like that last step is the only precise part in the process. And by the way, when they set up the first chain, when they moved it down the field, they just put it where the fuck ever they put it. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's such theater of precision.
Right. I don't always assume that refs in sports have to have cyborg vision, right? They're running at 200 frames a second where the rest of us are at 40. To be able to see and process the specific detail to know if a thing was good, that's another level.
If I was a baseball ump, seriously, about 6 times a game, it'd be you'd hear the ball hit the glove and I go, I wasn't watching. Wouldn't we all be like that?
Yeah, I go, oh, that one was fast.
Or just be I was thinking about, did I leave my oven on? Shit, I had the garden hose running when I left. Can you throw that one again? Just exactly the same way that you just did it?
Did you hear about the Oblivion remaster, guys?
After 5 minutes, it all looks the same. It all looks like strikes. Oh, wait. That's what they'll do. Like the home plate ump will point at the first base ump, and then the first base ump will do it. It's always very dramatic. It's like the chains in football. And it's like, then the first base ump goes, tag. And then everybody goes, yeah. And it's just like, I think that's bullshit. I think the home plate ump was just like, fuck, I blinked. I was thinking about something else.
Well, what do you say, buddy?
Taxes
Confirm?
are due.
I got to say, one other thing that I'm really looking forward to about actually getting through the character creator and into this game with Oblivion is I heard that they've redone some of the systems, like tweaked them. So I'm hoping that it not only looks the way I remember, but plays the way I wish that it did.
When you
back
say
then.
systems, what do you mean?
I mean specifically like Oblivion introduced, I don't think Morrowind had this, but Oblivion introduced like level scaling for the monsters around you. And so
I don't like that.
Theoretically, any monsters you encounter are relative to your current level. They're not.
Yeah, but then what's the point of leveling up?
Well,
Can I run into like a level 3 dragon at some point?
that dragon is the jump. You're talking about Skyrim anyway, but we're talking Oblivion gates this game, okay? Oblivion gates, and
I see.
So I think that has been tweaked a bit to be fixed, and then also sort of the leveling system, how like the points are allocated. I don't remember a lot of the specifics from before, but it was kind of if you didn't like min-max specific skills, you were kind of falling behind as you leveled. And I think what they did this time is they went back and they've polished it up, so it's going to play a little bit more elegantly.
Okay. It's a weird game because people who played it liked it. People who love Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, they love that series, Daggerfall. They love it, absolutely adore it. It is cherished among those people. Oblivion in particular has a weird place in the history of video games for what it's known for, and that is
horse armor.
Because it basically started the era of microtransactions.
Baby, they included the horse armor.
Is the horse armor in there?
Oh, it's in there. And
please tell me it's $5,000 for the horse armor.
But Bernie, they gave you the horse armor that you paid for with 600 Microsoft points or whatever the first time around. That's included. But if you want to upgrade to the deluxe version I shit you not, an extra $10, you get not only some extra horse armor, but some extra pretty armor for yourself as well as a treat.
See, it's weird. It's like they're doubling down. I would think they would do anything they could to like remove themselves from that legacy.
No, right. I mean, because this is that's the first one, right? That's the first one. That's the one everyone thinks about.
Yeah, when the very first microtransactions in video games, whenever Oblivion came out, with 2007 or something like that, and they sold horse armor for your horse that was cosmetic, and it cost $5. And everyone goes, cool, makes the horse look better. I can do that. I use my Microsoft points to do that. And there were people that were saying, do not do this, do not buy this. And pretty soon, everything is going to be loaded with these little transactions.
Right. It was like, whatever, doomsdayers. This is hilarious. Look at how pretty my horse looks when it's elven armor.
Those are the people who bought gold and like held on to it like all the way through cryptocurrency and everything.
They're in a bunker right now.
But gold, by the way, all-time high. That's a great economic indicator. All-time high gold.
Yeah, that's now being considered the safe haven, right?
If you listen to this podcast like as an economic indicator beforehand, I think I might have mentioned this as well. We were talking about how gold went up 50% in a year. You would have made a ton of money at that point if you started investing in gold.
Right, like if you bought it when we were like, it's at an all-time high, it's doubled. If you bought right then, you would have made
I think it's up like 15 to 20% since we talked about that.
Yeah, I think we had talked about it bumping at 3,000, right? Like this crossed over 3,000 temporarily. It's now crossed over 3,500, I think.
Is it really? Yeah, it was approaching it when the last time I checked. It was over 3,400.
One of those things that what they tend to do is, they'll bump it and then drop a bit. But it's bumped. It bumped 3,500.
May I ask you a question?
You may.
And you'll forgive me for calling you this. You're a horse girl. You grew up a horse girl, right?
I'm a recovered horse girl. I took a hard left and became a dragon girl at some point.
Oh, that happens. It's a pathway. You got to branch at some point. You got to specialize. You get points, Like I got to spend 3 points to go this direction or that direction. I'm not going to be able to do it in both ways.
I'm going to specialize in dragons.
Yeah, you're either doing dragons or you're like following a rock band around America. One of the two.
But yeah. But yeah, I read all the like the Black Beauties and the race, like the racing horse series of books, and was really into all that. And my grandma had a horse I would ride all the time. Yes, I was into horses when I was a kid.
So I wondered this because I saw this very impressive female motorcycle rider in a YouTube video. Like she was getting her motorcycle off the back of a truck and then was doing these really impressive tricks on the motorcycle. And it made me wonder, there's so many horse girls, not everybody has access to a horse. Why aren't there more motorcycle girls? There are motorcycle girls, but it means something different, right?
Yes.
They like guys who have motorcycles. How come like women on motorcycles isn't more of a thing?
Speed. There's a line, right, where like horses are, I mean, yes, they're all constantly trying to kill themselves. They're doing their best to die at any given time.
Yes.
But you get on one and it's majestic and it has a lovely gait, and you're cantering at a whopping like 25 miles an hour or whatever, and you're like, holy shit, this is so fast, I'm gonna die. Now put yourself on a motorcycle at like 150 miles an hour going, gee, I hope this helmet saves my brain.
Yeah, but arguably you have way more control over the motorcycle than you do over the goddamn horse. Those things are stupid.
Yeah. You mean because it doesn't have a mind of its own, it's not going to fight you?
I never, ever saw a motorcycle take off because somebody like got too close to it from behind and made a noise.
Or like it saw a cucumber on the ground.
Or it like jumped up and hit you in the face with its back wheel for no reason whatsoever.
No, I think it really is to do with the speed. It's much more dangerous. And we've looked at the stats, the life expectancy of sort of like men and women over time, and women tend to live longer, not only because they live longer, but also because they don't do things like ride motorcycles in the quantity that dudes do.
You are completely playing down the connection between horses and motorcycles. A horse is also a really awful thing to be around for your longevity. It really is.
Don't all the cowboys call them like on an iron horse I ride? It's on a steel horse.
Steel horse. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Got close anyway.
Yeah, but so why doesn't that? I'm just curious because it's like there are horse guys, but horse girl is like it's a thing. It's like an Elder Scrolls class. You choose it. You're that it. You haven't lived
right until you specialize in dragons.
Right until you've dated a chaotic neutral horse girl. That's a special kind of person. And everybody, there's about 20% of the guys listening to this going, oh yeah, I've done that. Especially the chaotic neutral. So yeah, I'm just curious about that. Like I would expect more women to be into riding motorcycles. Like they would be into it. I mean, like I said, motorcycle girl means something different than a horse girl.
It does, but if you think about it, though, horse girls are also really into the magical relationship between girl and horse. Like this is my best friend, and I would do anything. I take good care of my horse, and my horse is going to take good care of me. And when we're riding, it's like magic. It's almost like we're telepathically linked, right? Like we're one unit. And I don't feel like you get that connection. Like you can tell the motorcycle what to do, but it's not going to be like, I love you too. Let me die.
Meanwhile, there's some dude with a Mountain Dew standing about 50 feet away going, don't buy that horse any armor. It's going to be bad for everybody if you do that. Sip, sip, sip.
You don't even know where this is going to lead.
They were right. So if I was Oblivion or if I was Bethesda, I would be leaning away from it.
But, maybe they're just embracing their role in the whole thing. I mean, they did create the new modern economic model for video games.
Do they have is there like a ZeniMax in the mix for Elder Scroll? Like, is there another developer who got involved with it at some point?
Well,
was it Daggerfall?
ZeniMax is like their parent company. So I think it was ZeniMax, and then Bethesda is like under that.
So who are the people that made Fallout New Vegas that caused the rift among the Fallouts?
That was Obsidian.
Obsidian.
Yeah, pretty sure that was Obsidian.
Okay. Is there anybody like that in the Elder Scroll? Like and you like rogue developers working their way into the franchise?
I mean, technically, I guess Bethesda kind of is one, right? Because they like the Daggerfall and whatever
Who
the
was
original
that?
Elder Scrolls was. Let me look up who made Daggerfall, because Bethesda sort of like took over that brand, and Morrowind was dramatically different than what Daggerfall was.
I'm gonna make a guess here. Can I make a guess?
You may.
Capcom.
Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall.
What was Elder Scrolls 1? Was it just Elder Scrolls? Like, I don't even know what that is. Kind of like Fallout. Nobody has played the first Fallout, the isometric one. I know very few people that have played that.
Very few. Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, it's, you know, the Elder Scrolls Daggerfall came out in 1996. Okay, so it was developed by Bethesda Softworks and MediaTek West.
It was just a scroll. It was like a Steve Jackson game. I looked up Steve Jackson games just recently for some reason. I can't remember what it was. I think somebody in the subreddit was mentioning Auto Duel, which was a weird kind of a crossover between Steve Jackson games, which was an Austin original. They used to do these like books that were like role-playing books. Not like lit RPGs.
Well, like Choose Your Own Adventure?
Yeah, with dice. Like you would roll dice and stuff like that. It was pretty cool, actually. It was like you could solo.
It's a fun idea.
It is. It was like a choose your own adventure where you'd roll stats, and if you rolled and made your check, you'd go to this page or go to that page. So it was a way you could like solo play a D&D campaign, which I thought was pretty cool.
You know, the best part about that is all of the dudes who played Auto Duel grew up and got together with horse girls.
They did. They did. And they bought each other armor on Christmas for their various pursuits. But Origin, like Richard Garriott and Steve Jackson crossed over, they made Auto Duel. Steve Jackson game's still here. Like they're still down. They were like
Still trucking.
from the call center we always talk about that we used to work at. They were like 2 blocks away from that. I had no idea.
Did you ever like raid their warehouses?
Well, you know what they're known for now?
What?
Think about it. Board game. What's a board game we hate? Card game. Because it's subjective.
Munchkin?
Yeah, exactly. They do all the Munchkin stuff.
I thought that sounded like
Yeah.
them.
Yep. Which is just like somehow or some way that game got an audience, was huge, and then they just fucking mined
Kept
it
going.
with expansion packs and variants and stuff like that. I have a Munchkin deck in Scotland that makes no sense to me. I built it and I'm like, what is this?
Like, I
fucking
don't know
thing?
what this is. What is it?
The backs of the cards are different, I think, and everything too, right?
I think you can. Yeah, I think you can mix. Right, you can mix cards from various Munchkins, so you can have like the Munchkin ninjas with like Munchkins from space or whatever.
Literally, in the manual for how to play Munchkin, I think the last rule is just do whatever you want.
Yeah, right.
That's
like
it.
if it's fun, do that instead.
It's even got like a dice where one of the sides of the dice, I don't even know what it is, some symbol. Not explained anywhere. Anyway, I give up.
Well, it's true. If you roll that side, it opens an Oblivion game.
Exactly right. And then you go, the graphics are way better. And now it's
And they're
gone.
fine. No, speaking of old games, though, that might be getting some kind of fresh coat of paint, we knew it was coming, but more video game 2 movie adaptations are happening. The new one, Outrun.
Outrun the car game?
Yeah, the old like 80s racing game. Here's a headline from Deadline.
That sounds like the dumbest possible franchise to turn into a movie that I could possibly imagine.
Oh, baby, just wait. Michael Bay and Sydney Sweeney team on movie
I would like to
adaptation
retract
of
my
Outrun video
previous
game
comment
at Universal.
about Outrun the movie, which sounds fucking amazing.
But
Sydney Sweeney and Michael Bay?
there is one catch. At the moment, Sydney Sweeney is on board to produce, not star in.
Oh, come on. Right. Give me your fucking break.
Right?
No way.
How much would it temper your enthusiasm for this Outrun adaptation if it's like there's her name in the credits and it's just produced by and she's nowhere on screen?
You know, when the Outrun car like smashes into a big wall, it would be like that. Exactly like that.
Dead stop.
You know, it's funny too. Sydney Sweeney, I love her attitude of, she's at a point now, I feel like she shouldn't be working with Michael Bay, but she's like, fuck it, I'll work with Michael Bay.
Let's do this.
Also, it's like the people in interviews going, well, now that you're a big star, are we doing less nudity? She goes, no. I love it. I love the attitude, fucking, why not? Work with Michael Bay. Go for it. Have fun.
Right. It's like she's like, look, I know exactly what my celebrity track is, and we're just going to go.
At the beginning of the comics era, we had fun saying, like, how will we know when it's gone too far? And I was talking about things like Rom the Space Knight when they get down that far. What would be like how many video games would they have to go through before they get to like what would be the lowest level video game? Outrun would be somewhere on that list for me.
Oh, let's see. The worst video game to ever adapt. Ooh, The Secret Island of Dr. Quandary.
What if they just skipped and they went straight to like Zork 3? That's what they made.
That was Nemesis, wasn't it?
What's that?
Zork Nemesis?
Was it Zork Nemesis?
I think Nemesis was 3. That was the first one that was visual, and then they went to Zork Grand Inquisitor with 4.
Oh, I remember. You remember what 2 was?
No.
Grand Wizard of Phobos, I think is what it was called.
I loved
He was a horse girl.
Grand Inquisitor was the first one I played, and it was so heavy on the FMV. It was like peak FMV era, and it was fantastic. They had their knockoff Princess, they had their knockoff Indiana Jones, they had their knockoff Dictator. It was fabulous.
FMV, if you're not familiar with terms.
Full motion video.
From the early 90s. Yeah, full motion video.
Where they would like insert bits of video into the video game is a big thing in Myst.
Just think about how low on the level of compliments you're giving to your own thing when you call video, it's full motion. It's like when somebody goes up after a play and tells the actors, wow, you memorized a lot of lines. It's the lowest possible compliment that you can get. All right, Ashley, who do we have to thank for giving us our lowest possible compliments today?
All right. Thank you for the terrible compliments. Brian Ford and Logan are sponsors for today's episode. Thank you both for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morningsomewhere.
Some real quick current events I feel like we should mention. Tesla has said that their profits, which have dropped by some estimates, over 70%, their profits have dropped. They're saying they're warning their investors and their shareholders that they could be suffering from future earnings problems because of the current political environment. It's like,
yes, that's it.
That is in other words, we're finding out after the fuck around period.
We're in the foe.
Everyone is so upset to hear that. I'm sure
it's the Wizard of Phobos coming to save the day.
Also, a really cool development. China has fired up its thorium reactor.
First one in the world.
It's pretty interesting. If you're into that kind of thing, I know Gus on the Rushid podcast talked about that at length. That was one of his gateway technologies, that if someone could get a stable thorium reactor, he thought it would open up a lot of possibilities.
And that one I think is interesting too, because isn't it built off the back of old salt reactor technology? Mm-hmm. And then they continued to work with it and refine it, and they came up with this thorium reactor. And so they are now the first in the world with a thorium reactor.
And that apparently the U.S. back decades ago just looked at it and just went, nah, we're not into this, and went in a different direction. And now after all these decades, it's paid off for them. We'll see where it goes, though. Hopefully anything that can produce cleaner energy, I think, is a win for everybody. All right, well, that does it for us today, April 23rd, 2025. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.